Eric Burgess here, and we've been told to construct a box plot for the data. So for a box plot, we're going to need the 5-number summary, which is the min, the max, and quartiles 1, 2, and 3. We're also going to need an interquartile range to see if we have any outliers. Now, just looking at this, I could tell you there's very, very likely to be no outliers. I can say that with extremely high degree of confidence. The largest number here is 37. So maybe, I don't know, maybe somehow by a miracle, 37 will be an outlier, but that's the most suspicious number of the bunch. So let's go ahead and compute this. So I'm going to do it by hand, and then we're going to check our answers with the calculator at the end. So step 1 is to put everything in order from lowest to highest. So our lowest number here is 27. Oh, you can hear my dog. Then we've got 29. After that, oh, I missed 28. So I'm just going to go ahead and scoot this over and add that in. We have a 28 right here. That's why I like crossing things out. Do we have any more? Now we have a number of 30s. We have a 30 here. We have a 30 here. We have another one. Yeah, that's a lot of 30s. 31. Any more 31s? Nope. Let's go any 32s. 32s. Nope. We got a 33 though. And we've got another 33 up here. I always try to write the number first and then cross, because if you do it the other way, you can get mixed up. So that almost screwed me up right there, because I crossed and then wrote the number down. It can make you second guess it. So I usually will write the number first and then cross off. It's a little more predictable. So we've got a 34, then a 35, and we've got another 35, and then finally we have a 37. All right, so that's them in order. This is a lot of numbers. So let's go ahead, let's count them up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Odd number of numbers, so there will be an exact middle. If we divide 13 by 2, we're going to get 6.5, right? Because by 12 is going to be 6, so we need to go up half more to get to 13. So we have 6.5, 6.5, that'll give us 13. So we round up to 7. That makes the 7th number, this one, the second quartile. This is Q2. Beautiful. Now we need to break it into 2 groups. We're going to have a lower group and a higher group. And the number of numbers in these 2 groups should be the same. And because we use 31 as the exact number for Q2, we therefore leave Q2, like we leave it out because we've used it for that. If we had averaged like we did on other problems, then you saw that we would include those numbers when we break it up into groups. So looking at these, the groups have 6 numbers in them each. And over here, if we were to renumber them, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they have 6 numbers each, so it's the same number of numbers in the lower and the upper group. And since it's 6 divided by 2 is 3, so the middle is going to be the 3rd and the 4th number, right? Because when we divide 6 by 2, we get 3. This tells us that the 3rd number is in the middle, but since it's a whole number, there's going to be 2 numbers in the middle. So we're going to take the 3rd and the 4th number and average them. So Q1, these are the lower numbers, is going to be equal to the 3rd and the 4th. That's 29 and 30. We're going to add them together and divide by 2. It's the midpoint formula. Looking at this, though, you can tell it's going to be 29.5. But let's go ahead and enter it in the calculator to set aside off here, because I know sometimes you're taking a test. It can be a little scary using mental math sometimes. 29.5. Up next, Q3. We're going to take again the 3rd and the 4th number, which in this case, we've reordered them so that we could see it easier. So that's going to be 34 and 35. You can see this one's going to be 34.5. 34 plus 35 divided by 2. We get 34.5. So this is Q1, Q2, Q3, and we've already got our min. Our minimum is 27, and our maximum is 37, right? We had to do that when we put them in order. So the first number is going to be our min. The last number is going to be our max. All right, so now we could do our chart. In every stats class I've been in, we've always charted before we've checked for outliers. So we include the outliers in the graph. I don't know why we do it that way. In real life, what you're going to do is you're going to check for outliers first, and then you're going to do the plot. But it's just convention of all the classes I've tutored in. Generally, you chart first. So I'm going to follow that convention here. So we're going to go ahead and plot these. Now, we should establish a scale. So let's go ahead. Let's draw ourselves a scale. And right here in the middle, we'll have the number, what's our Q2? 31? 31. And then we'll go down. This will be 30, 29. In fact, let me make this easier on myself. I'm just going to make this 30. Here's 35. Here's 40. And here's 25. There. We've got a scale. If you're working on just plain paper, just do your best. But you do kind of want to have some sort of a scale to work with. All right, so our first number is 31. That's Q2. I'm going to do it here in pink. 31, I'm going to put it right here. We make the quartiles solid up and down lines. So I'm actually going to use the line tool to do this because it'll look nice. All right, our first quartile is 29.5. So that's going to be right here. And our third quartile is going to be 34.5, which is going to be over here. So we see there's actually a higher spread on the upper half of the data. And then the minimum is 27. So we're going to come down to 27, and we're going to go up to 37, which is right here. And I actually will sometimes label the numbers. If you're on a paper, this is especially good to do, because it lets the teacher know you know what these numbers are supposed to be. So this is 27. This is going to be 29.5. This is going to be 31. This is going to be 34.5. And this is going to be 37. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect the quartiles, making a box. And then we're going to connect these outer parts. And this is our box plot. So we've got our 5-number summary. We've got our box plot. You might consider writing them all nice over here on the side. So min, max, we could have our Q1 is equal to 29.5. Q2 is equal to 31. And Q3 is equal to 34.5. And then you could, draw a box around it. Like here's the answer. Finally, let's check for outliers. So our interquartile range is equal to Q3 minus Q1, and that is going to be equal to, let's find out, Q3 minus Q1 is going to be 34.5 minus 29.5. This is going to be all the numbers that are in here in the middle part, right? We're going from 34.5 all the way down to 29.5. So it describes the length of our box here. So let's go ahead and do that. 34.5 minus 29.5, and we get 5. So there's our interquartile range. Then we have a lower fence, which is equal to 1.5 times the interquartile range minus the first quartile. That's going to be the lower. And then the upper is going to be the upper fence. So if a number's lower than this lower fence, it's an outlier. And if it's above this upper fence, it's an outlier. So we're going to have 1.5 times the IQR. But this time we're going to go above Q3. So if that would be the numbers too big. So that's going to be 5 times 1.5 minus Q1. Minus Q1 is 29.5. Oh, you know what? This is supposed to be in front. So this is Q1 minus this. And the reason for this is that would be a super negative number. It also wouldn't be that useful. So we put it in front. That's just kind of something you have to be careful of with subtraction. So I'm going to delete this and put it as, we're going to insert some numbers here. Q1, what is Q1? 29.5. 29.5. And then we're going to have minus this quantity. So we can come out of the insert mode and we can hit enter. And we get 22. So if a number is below 22, then it is an outlier. For the upper one, we're going to do 1.5 times the interquartile range. Well, that is 5. And then we're going to add to it Q3. Now, with the adding, you can do that on either side. It won't change anything. The subtraction, very important that you do this in the right order. So Q3 is going to be 34.5. And we get, when we do this, 42. So if a number was past 42, that would be an outlier. 37 is our highest number. So we have no outliers, so we don't need to adjust our graph. One other thing we can do here is we can check our 5-number summary. We probably should have done this before we graphed it, but I got a little excited and just went straight to it. So we're going to come into edit, and we're going to go, so to do that, you go to stats and you go to edit, and we're going to put these numbers in a list. So clear a list out, and we're going to put in 27, 28, 29, 30, and we've got 2 more 30s after that one. So we have a 30 and a 30. And then we've got a 31, 33, 33, 34, 35, 35. And you see it actually tells us what number we're on. So it helps if the number repeats. And finally 37, which is the 13th number. All right, beautiful. What we're going to do now is we're going to go to stat, calculate, 1var statistics, and then make sure your list matches. Make sure frequency list is blank. I'm going to go to calculate, and we get some stats. Let's see what we got here. So we've got a minimum of 27. Yep. We've got a Q1 of 29.5. Yep. A median of 31. Yep. That's Q2. 34.5 for Q3. Yep. And a maximum of 37. Also checks out. So there you go. You can use the calculator to go through and really quick verify this. A good idea to do before you graph it, but it's not the end of the world if we have to adjust our graph after it's all over. If you have any questions about this, feel free to drop a comment down below, subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos, and we'll catch you in the next problem.